Chapter 1 Visions in the Night. The wind had been howling and the moon had been full, as an adolescent dragon slept under the starlit night. Spike had been restless, tossing and turning left and right. He searched for sleep, but it would always evade him. He was trapped in a surreal nightmare. Spike could not tell if it was real or false. Spike was flying over a battle-worn field, and what he saw was horrifying. He had been witnessing a battle between warring dragons. It was as if the sky was bleeding. Crimson rain pelted the scorched earth. This wasn't a war, it was a slaughter. Charred corpses littered the ground, adding to the sobering and fearful reality of mortality. He flew over the battlefield in a trance-like state towards a castle. He made contact with the castle wall. However, much to his surprise, he phased through the wall. He soon found himself in a room with a mother and father dragon, looking over 2 eggs lovingly. He noticed that the mother was a turquoise dragon, with little light blue spots. Spike couldn't help but notice that the female dragon had a striking resemblance to Ember. The male dragon, Spike noticed, was pearlescent white, with glittering green eyes and a gentle expression. While Spike was watching the dragon family, the doors leading into the room suddenly shattered open, with a thunderous crash. Spike soon noticed the third dragon had charged the door. It was a black dragon, with a menacing look upon his maw, with red, bloodlust-filled eyes. The room exploded into violence, as the white dragon tackled the black dragon. The black dragon kicked the white dragon off of its chest, sending the white dragon into a wall. Then the black dragon summoned a levitating, flaming sword, engulfed with black flames. He charged at the white dragon. As the black dragon charged the dazed white dragon, the mate of the white dragon stepped in front of the attack, receiving the fatal blow to the chest. Soon, the turquoise dragon died, protecting her mate. Spike soon stirred awake from a mysterious yet familiar voice entering his mind, telling him to wake up. As Spike woke up, he noticed that he was in Ponyville, in Twilight's castle. He raised a talon to his forehead and noticed that he had been sweating. He left his chambers, stepping out onto the balcony, admiring his new keep. Twilight had upgraded her castle to house a large adult dragon. Spike had grown to be quite the formidable beast. Twilight's brother had taught Spike everything about swordplay and martial prowess, to turn Spike into the ultimate guardian. When Shining Armor found out about Twilight and Flash's foal growing inside of his sister's womb, he gave Spike one extremely important prerogative. He had to protect his sister's foal and her mate with his life. Spike took the mantle of responsibility and promised to do as Shining asked. While Spike stood on his balcony, he heard the same voice enter his mind again. "Spike, you must prepare. A great evil is closing in. Look to the south. See the blight you will fight, for it is your fate." Spike did as the voice said, and what he saw made him pause eerily. He saw a massive army approaching from the south. Whatever they were attacking in the middle of the night. Spike used his masculine and booming voice and stated, "Sound the alarm! We are about to be attacked!" As soon as Spike finished his statement, Ember was at his side.
"What's wrong? What's happening?"
Ember stated in a panicked voice. "I woke up in a cold sweat from a horrible nightmare. It felt so real. I soon realized it was a dream. Then a voice told me to look to the south, and I did. I saw a massive army leading a march on Ponyville from the south. When I saw the army, I raised the alarm. I must prepare to fight now. Ember, please be safe," Spike said as he was about to leave the keep, don his armor, to defend his mate, Flash Century, Twilight, and the young foal growing inside of her womb.
"Spike, you must return. Show our kin that I was not foolish in choosing my mate,"
Ember stated weakly, trying to put on a false personality to avoid showing her fear. But Spike knew better. They had been living with each other for some time now. He knew she was afraid. "Ember, I will return, not for the clan's sake, But for your sake, I know how much it tears your heart in two every time I fight. When we are alone like this, you don't need to be strong. You can show me what you're truly feeling. I love you, regardless of how you act. We both know what's at stake. Spike gingerly stroked the side of Ember's cheek before he started making his way to the armory. But before Spike could leave the room, Ember rushed up to him and passionately kissed Spike.
Be safe, Spike. I don't think I can live without you,
Ember stated as she embraced her lover. As Spike made it to the armory, he saw the other soldiers preparing to fight. There were dragons and changelings mixed throughout the Twilight Guard. Spike donned his armor and charged out to meet his enemy on the front line. There was only one thought on Spike's mind: to return to Ember in one piece. Spike knew the risks with dragon mating. He knew that if a dragon found its mate, the two would become ageless. However, Spike also knew it was also a curse. If one of the partners were to be killed by unnatural causes, the other would live on in immortality, feeling the weighty sense of loss. Most dragons would become depressed, suicidal, or insane with revenge. Not many dragons were known to move on to another partner. They would stay widowed, dealing with the loss for all eternity. Once Spike made it to where the fighting was, he was terrified at the sight of his enemy. They wore tattered cloth clothing. They had razor-sharp claws and flesh hanging off of their bones. They wielded thrusted blades, and they wore black armor. They were merciless in the way they attacked. They didn't care if it was a foal or an adult. They killed them without mercy. A thick aroma of death pungently hung in the air. The smell of iron combined with a terrible smell of blood and rotting flesh mixed through the air. Spike broke into a rage after viewing the scene of the ceaseless and brutal violence of his enemies. He soon saw Rarity trying to fend off a group of fiends. She had been backed into a corner, and they were gaining on her. Spike didn't know if he could kill something that was already dead, but he would not let his old crush perish. Spike flew into the fray, tackling one of the fiends to the ground, before ripping it in two with his amazing strength and his razor-sharp talons. Before slamming another 3 fiends with his tail into a nearby wall, crushing them. The gruesome sound of breaking bones echoed as they made contact. He unsheathed his sword and stabbed another fiend in the chest, before ripping his sword out, nearly cutting the fiend in half. As Spike looked at the fiend, he expected them to rise again, but instead he saw them turn to ash. Spike then helped Rarity up and told her to hide in her shop. Spike heard a dragon in the distance, thundering towards Ponyville. He looked over and up, and he saw a black dragon. He recognized the dragon from his dream, approaching Twilight's castle. He took flight, his sword still drawn, covered with black blood. He met the dragon mid-fight. The black dragon looked at Spike and stopped in his tracks.
Young dragon, why do you halt my path? Do you not know who your king is?
The black dragon stated, as if he was talking to a hatchling. You're not my king, and you, dragon, are not going any further, Spike stated without fear.
You impulsive hatchling. I'll teach you how to respect your superiors,
The black dragon stated with disgust and impatience. The dragon soon breathed black flames at Spike. Spike dodged a blast with his nimble speed and wheeled around, slashing at his attacker. But the giant black dragon still had speed at his disposal also, and caught Spike's blade with his talon before crushing it like it was made out of glass. He then slammed Spike with his powerful tail with lightning speed, sending Spike into Twilight's castle, causing the very castle to shake from the impact. Spike fell to the ground with a thunderous thud, cracking the ground slightly. Ember saw Spike plummet to the ground, and Black Dragon hovering casually as he realighted himself. She flew at the dragon with a maddening rage. Ember made it to her target, delivering a gash across the dragon's eye. The black dragon yowled in pain, but soon became enraged, and retaliated with a severe attack, cutting her across the chest, sending her to the ground with such force that she coughed up blood. The dragon increased his pace, reaching his full speed, landing in front of Ember, with a menacing and vengeful look on his face. He began to rear his talons that glistened with dragon blood still, from the pale moonlight. He was about to deliver the final blow. Spike came to and saw Ember fly towards the dragon. He watched her deliver a great slash across his face, and he heard the black dragon yowl. Then he saw the unthinkable. He saw his beloved receive a swift slash across her face. In a frenzied manner, the black dragon charged at Ember with a vicious intent. Spike saw Ember about to be brutally killed by his oppressor. No! Spike charged at the dragon and blocked the attacker's talon with his foreclaw, protecting Ember. A loud crack could be heard as the talon met with his front leg. He knew it was broken. The dragon then redirected his rage-induced attacks to Spike, and Spike stood up for as long as he could, before finally being sent into another wall of Twilight's castle, cracking the crystal finally. Spike slid down the side of the castle, too drained from blood loss to even stand. He could only helplessly watch with blurring vision as the dragon returned to his original target. No, Spike weakly said as he saw the dragon start to attack Ember again. The first attack broke Ember's front leg from her trying to fend off the dragon's ferocious attacks. After the brutal and vicious attack, the dragon had decided to finally finish Ember with a fiery blast. Spike managed to find a well of strength, suddenly teleporting in front of Ember. "You will not harm my mate!" Spike yelled. He knew he was about to die. However, a sudden blinding white light engulfed Spike and Ember. As the flames met, they simply disappeared. This made the black dragon snap out of its rage-induced blindness. Spike was confused. He just teleported and created a shield. Dragons couldn't use magic, but he was grateful for the saving grace, whatever it was.
"You're a sage dragon,"
The dragon hissed before continuing.
"You're the one I've been looking for. The son of Shamilth. I have to end you before you become a threat."
He growled, before striking at Spike, but his attacks were stopped by Spike's shield. After the 7th attack, the white shield shattered finally, and he was finally about to achieve his goal, when he was suddenly blasted by a bolt of golden magic, causing him to stumble back.
You will not continue this raid.
An ethereal voice boomed. Spike recognized this voice as Celestia's voice.
"Celestia, I remember that power. Your father's power,"
The black dragon stated.
You have no right to speak about my father. Your attack ends now.
Celestia stated, as the sun began to rise from behind her, destroying the fiends and causing the black dragon to cringe from the light.
"I may not have the power to defeat you yet, Celestia, but I will return. That I promise,"
The black dragon stated, as a blinding flash of white light shattered the twilight, and the dragon was suddenly gone.